Really, you're supposed to roll from the middle out. I don't like the way it's sticking. I really don't. So I'm going to go back to this one.
So cool.
This one just gives a smoother roll. The other one's not a good one to use. I guess it just, for some reason, it wants to stick to the other rolling pin. I don't know the answer to that unless there's just some kind of different surface.
Is that rolling pin like a plastic or something, or rubber?
No, it's supposed to be a wooden one also, I think, but it's just not doing the job. I'll just be careful. I'll just be careful and try to get the same thickness through here as best I can.
It might stick to it because I'm pretty sure that has paint on it.
Yeah, it could be like the lacquers.
It might.
Used over it.
It could be. It could be most anything. And these dowel rods are a little bit thick, and I can go just a little bit thinner than the dowel rod anyway. So I'm good.
I work with
both. Have you worked
with an actual clay.
How many of you have worked with clay that you actually fire?
Well,
Okay.
we should all
We did
have.
that in school.
Yeah, we did that in elementary school.
And here. I did it here before, too.
Okay, I'm getting a fairly smooth surface here. I can almost guarantee you that it's not going to be a smooth surface on the other side. Now, do I have a spatula? You might go get me a spatula out of the curry box.
I want to roll it with
You all are so creative that you're going to come up with all kinds of ideas on your own.
I had a really good idea.
Okay,
I know I can't remember it. I had a really good idea. McIntosh.
Yeah, there are. There should be. This,
It's SpongeBob.
and I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to turn it over. And actually, I forget the exact term, but look, it's not pretty on the other side. It also strengthens your clay. And I forget the term for it.
If you take like the bubbles and stuff.
I will come up with the term for it. I can't remember the proper term right
There's
now.
already
We should
like
just
a
make
crease
up
or something.
terms.
No, we're going to use the proper terms.
You'll confuse yourself and actually hear.
Yeah, you want to learn the right stuff.
Doesn't jolt as much.
I felt like a little
Okay,
bit
now
on
then,
my rack.
I'm going to use one of the fancy rollers to get a design on it.
We have one right here. It's McIntosh.
Yeah, weird. Very interesting.
No more goofing off.
Oh, that light is driving me crazy.
Okay, let's get these out of the way. This is kind of neat because it puts a certain kind of design on it. You can just like roll across, and you could roll this way and get another pattern on it. You know, that's one thing. But then this is really cool.
Yes.
Oh, that's just like, that's satisfying.
Makes me feel really happy about life.
Me too.
And you overlap a little bit. Now I put a dent in it, so I'm probably going to smooth that out with my finger later. I'm just going to go ahead and go over that. I'm not sure that I want that. It still left a little bit of that in there. That's okay.
It makes it unique.
Yeah. And maybe I want to go on those seams with a little bit of this.
This makes me happy.
Why?
I don't
It's
know.
so satisfying.
It's satisfying.
Have you not used clay a lot or something?
I do. I just never use like patterns.
I don't know if I like that or not. Do you like that?
Not
It
really.
looks like it's stitched. I think it looks
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Like
I
fabric
think so.
that's stitched together.
It looks like someone
Like a
was
quilt,
weaving a
kinda.
basket.
Kind of like a quilt, okay? So you like that, so we'll
Yeah.
indent it
Cool
pretty
if, like,
well.
each one was like different
Okay.
patterns, so it looks like it's like a quilt.
It kind of
All
looks
right,
like how
so there
like,
we
a
go.
sweater
We've got
is.
that much.
Kinda
Now
looks like
I'm
a
going to
sweater.
use the bowl and the turntable. Okay, so we.
I tried to hurry up and catch it.
It's okay because that'll come off anyway. We've got this little turntable, and what I've done is I've got a plastic bowl in here, just ordinary plastic bowl. I've actually had these in the garage sale or to throw away or something, and I decided, well, you know, I'm going to keep that. Now I want that design on the outside of the bowl, okay? So I'm going to slump it over this. And if it hangs down further, that's okay. So I'm going to carefully...
That'd be cool if you had like a bowl like this, like since it was hanging over and it was like folded.
Actually, the last one hung over a little bit, and it was fine. We did fine with it. This is a
What
little
about that?
heavy.
What about that? Can help?
No. I'm going to pick it up and carefully peel it off and drape it over. And maybe I will need help in a minute, but right now I just want to kind of peel the paper away.
It's kind of like how you use fondant.
It's
Yeah.
kind of
Or like
like
baking.
fondant. That's exactly right. Now I don't want it to crack as I'm picking it up, so I'm pretty gentle not to just bend it in a big angle. Okay. You want to hold the paper down while I... Okay. Now I put my hands under it and pick up and drape over. You getting this? I want to be sure that I have some drape on that side and some drape on this side. Now, as I do that, it kind of tends to want to crack. Okay, so what I do is I put my fingers in water and I kind of pat it down gently. This is not a stretch time. If you stretch it, it's going to crack. So you start to gently shape it. Now, you could have a 3-tier bowl. Oh, here's a crack. See this crack right here?
Oh, it's all there.
There's a crack right there. I need to push that together so it doesn't. Now, I also can take my knife. I need a knife.
That'd be like a perfect, that kind of will just like that
Okay.
would be like a perfect like orange.
It's not wanting to go down because it's a pretty steep angle. So, right here on this line that I made, I'm going to split it. Okay? So that it will come together. I didn't split it all the way through. It has to be split all the way through. And let this overlap a little bit because I'm going to cut away some of it. Now, see what I did? That's what I did. The nice thing about working on
It's cracking right there.
okay, it is cracking. And I've got to work pretty fast or it will crack. And that's, I'm going to push that back together.
And there's a bit of a crack right there.
Okay, well I'm going to work pretty fast here. It's starting to crack a little bit.
I think she gets the cracks.
That's because I'm going slow and showing you all things.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let it drape over each other. I'm going to,
It's half hard to put it like this.
there's that piece that I
They're
messed
massaging
up.
someone.
Now, when you've got extra clay, be sure to put it back
In
in.
the back.
Put it, well, I'd have another bag somewhere because I wouldn't go back to the original bag. I'd have another bag and I'd have a wet paper towel in it and I would put it back in there because you may need that extra clay. Push this down gently against the bowl so that you don't lose your design. And now I trim away enough so that it meets.
So you
I don't know if you caught that or not, but the clay's pretty wet. See, I trimmed that away, and this meets. So I start to join it. Now, I might want to join it with a tool so it doesn't, so my fingerprints don't end up being part of the bowl. So this is pretty much, it looks like I need to cut it away right along that seam. I kind of go by what's, I don't know if you're seeing this or not, but I'm kind of looking behind and seeing where that other one is and cutting it right along the line where the other one is so that it'll join up. And if it doesn't, if I cut it too deep, I just put some more clay in it and join it back. But it looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it?
Yeah, this McIntosh chair here too.
Go ahead and take this. I did get a little gap here, so I can fill that later.
Oh, here's a tiny piece.
That's okay, put it in the sack. And I'm getting a crack.
Oh, that's the sack.
And like I said, this is not my area of expertise, but I can still make a pretty doggone good bow, even if I don't have an area of expertise going. I'm going to fill my crack right here, so the design doesn't show up perfectly. So, it's okay. I could even take that roller and work on the design now, you know?
Seems a lot easier.
You know that roller,
Like this.
I could put that back in.
Like that too.
Simple as that. Did you see me? I filled that hole and I put that design back in. Now, I definitely need to, where's that? Look at this. I pushed that clay together, so I can just push this in there and make some designs over that so that you don't really see that crack. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to take this and push this together with my fingers. I'm going to turn this towards the camera so you can see. Push that together. Now it smoothed it out, so just take your roller and give it a little design. Make sense? If you smooth it out, just go back and give it a design. Nobody's ever going to really notice that it wasn't exactly like it was supposed to be. I don't know that I really like that stitching on there.
Me neither.
Do you like it?
Not really.
So I'm going to go over the stitching. Do you all really like the stitching?
I like it.
I think it's cool. See, like over here, it looks really nice.
Okay, I'm going to leave some of it, but I'm not going to leave all of it. Now, I'm ready to cut off the bottom of the bow. So I just feel it for the bottom of the bow, and I turn it. Just got the clay thing.
No, not that.
If I hold this level, and I don't know if you can see that on this side, but if I hold that level and turn my turntable, it's going to make the bow even all the way around. It's hard to do on that side. It's easier to do on my side. It's not quite even. I might want to go, it looks like that's a little longer.
I think it looks good, but then even a little. I mean, unless you, unless you're like you think about everything.
Bless you.
I like that better. That looks better. Now, I'm going to keep this clay. I'm going to keep this clay out. Because I'm going to put a pinch pot on the bottom.
Okay.
Pinch pot.
Pinch pot.
Okay. It's a little lopsided. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess so. All right. I'm going to roll this clay into a ball. Y'all want to know what a pinch pot is?
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's what
We made
that's
pinch
what little
pots and
little young students
factors.
begin with, is pinch pots.
yeah.
So you roll the clay into a ball.
We used to make pinch pot monsters.
Yeah.
They were little
Can you get my hands?
Those were
Okay.
jigs.
Oh, well, I remember with Mr. Contra, he made like that unicorn monkey thing.
Unicorn monkey bear. True.
Yeah, it was weird.
Something such a common.
And what you do to make a pinch pot is you start with your thumb pushing down into the pot, and you start pinching as you go around. You pinch into the pot like so until you widen the pot. Have you made a pinch pot before? Are you seeing
Yeah.
what I'm doing? Okay. So as you go around,
That'd be really pretty if you
you
put it
pinch
inside
the
bowl.
pot. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Until it widens out like so, and try to keep the walls of the pot the same thickness. And you don't want this too thick down here either.
Miss McIntosh, it'd be really pretty if you put that little bowl inside the bowl.
That's what I was
That'd
gonna
be
do.
really pretty.
Okay, well that's not what my plan
They did,
is.
like, they had this
That's not my plan. That's a
class.
good idea.
He did this.
I want it to be a little bit bigger than this.
Is that gonna be like the bottom of the bowl?
Mm-hmm.
He made like a chip plate, and then in it he had like this tiny
Stop playing with it.
Sauce like because my brother's gonna take it to chips and sauce.
Mine's getting a little bit dry on the top,
Chips and sauce is good.
and it's also, the thickness is a little bit questionable. So, I don't know if I can get any texture on this or not, but I bet I can with this. If I hold it gently and roll down, oh yeah. I might be able to get a little bit of something on it. I don't know if I like it or not, we'll see.
I kind of like it.
Kind of like it, I'm not sure that I like it, but we'll see.
To me, it kind of looks like bamboo trees when they're kind of close
Okay,
together.
so what I want is, I want to get this kind of perfectly round out. I want it to be a little flat and a little bigger around here. So I'm still pinching and pulling it out. I don't want the walls of it too thin. But I want to bring that clay on. I'm probably pinching away the texture I just put on, because this is going to be the foot that it stands on. So when you turn it upside down, it's on a pedestal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. I want to make sure it's flat so it sits flat, so it won't tip over. Because it needs to be pretty, this is a pretty big bowl, so this needs to be a pretty big pedestal. I bet I needed more clay. I need more clay than this for my pinch pot. I think I'll make a second one. I don't think that's big enough. I'm afraid that that bowl would fall over. What do you think? I think it needs to be a little larger,
Yeah.
because look how big it is out here.
Where's the string?
Okay, while we're getting some more clay to make a second bowl, and these make bowls too. This is a tiny bowl. But while we're doing that, I'm going to take the sharp edges off of this by just rubbing it with my fingers. See how sharp they are where I cut it? I don't want sharp edges on my bowl.
Does anybody know where the...
Now when this dries, the inside of it's probably not pretty. As it dries a little bit, I'll have to go on the inside of it and work. After some trial and error and a bit of discussion, we decided on a different kind of base for this bowl. So I rolled a coil and began to cut it into little pieces and attach the pieces to the base, 4 little pieces on the base, as you'll see in this video. It's important to note that clay dries, as it dries, it shrinks. So when you're slumping a bowl over something that does not have any give to it, like slumping a clay over a bowl, as it shrinks, it's going to pull in, and as it pulls in, if it doesn't have any give, it will crack. So the answer to this is I gently lift it off with that plastic, and I stuff paper towels under it to let it dry. The paper towels will give. I wad up some paper towels, stuff it under, let it dry on the paper towels over the bowl. That will give, and then the clay will not crack. A raw clay bowl like this is called greenware. It takes an average of 2 weeks, depending on environmental conditions, how thick your clay is, and how wet it is, for the clay to dry enough to do a bisque firing. The test is hold it to your cheek. If it's cold, it's still wet. Too wet to fire. After it is bisque fired, it can be immediately glazed and glaze fired. And then you're done. The CAMS class had a lot of fun making their own bowls.
Okay. Was there bowls?
Lift it up in there. Lift it up in there.
I don't think I
Other way, Kai.
Life hates me decided to not make it. Wait, is there bowls?
Can you get some tape?
If you're gonna make a bowl,
If you want them, take them. But you have to clean them up. has other tools. You have to clean up all the tools when you finish.
Might be better if we just work it in with our hands.
Probably.
Okay, where's the parchment paper? Parchment paper, where's the parchment paper? Over there on the table, my motion.
Okay, I'm just
Kind
gonna
of like
pretend.
what we did at first is kind of like we kind of rolled it up into a ball so we could. It depends on what style you're doing it.
I'm just gonna go like this. Cause yeah.
It's like flat.
Oh, it's Friday.
Oh, yeah. It is Friday.
Wow, that actually looks really nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's like rolling over it perfectly at this point.
Kind of looks like an egg. I'm not saying that's bad.
More clay videos in the future. Perhaps we'll show you these when they're finished, and maybe we'll show you a bowl where we slump inside the bowl and you don't have to worry about it cracking because inside the bowl will give. For now, we hope that you will support us by sharing this video, give us a thumbs up, and we would love to have comments from you. Oh yes, help us grow. Subscribe. Click on that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our videos. Thank you for watching.